helping my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution. The time is now. I just wanna be free. 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 Can't you see? I just wanna be free.
Okay. Another episode of the Things I Wish I Knew About Money podcast. I'm your host, Camille Smith. And welcome, folks. Welcome. I know I'm a little late, but it's all good. But it's that time of the year. Well, it's my birthday month, so I'm gonna still celebrate as much as I want. And I decided to just wait a little bit longer, but no, we have a guest, and I just want to respect their time and everything, and being able to accommodate for them. But hold on one second. But the one thing I want to say first is thank you to everyone that wished me a happy birthday. Burp, 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 burp. I feel like my birthday is going to be going on for the whole month. Actually, I lie. Once this weekend passes, or what's today? The 16th, maybe once the 20th hits, once it's actually winter, then I'm gonna be done. But I want to introduce y'all to a lovely friend of mine. Oh man, it's been a minute since we've known each other from time. So this is actually going to be really exciting to talk about this. Morlan, welcome. Hello, sir. Beep, 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 beep. How
The
are
crowd goes
you?
wild. I'm doing well.
I'm glad that we're actually able to make this happen, because we've been in the same like industry for this longest time. And it's funny, like even way back we've been grinding and everything, and always supporting each other. So I'm really happy that we were able to do this. And folks, this is going to be a little bit different, because the idea was that we wanted to do a webinar, but I thought to myself, I was like, well, it's the webinar is similar to like an episode. So I really want everyone to know who you are, and for us to have this discussion, be especially at this time of the year. I think financial trauma is very important, and a lot of people are feeling it these days, right? So I definitely am honored for you to bless the stage, and wanted to share this information. But before anything, let the people know who you are, sir. Oh,
Yes. Oh, I appreciate you so much. So my name is Morlan Allen, and I'm a financial professional that's been serving in the Scarborough, Toronto community from well over 9 years. I'm a husband, father, friend, and I love helping people and serving the community. And education is so important, especially in our community. And so this is really important. It's at my heart. And namely, the insurance industry truly has impacted my family in a positive way as well. So that's one of the reasons why I am very, very passionate about it, because I know the value of it as well. So that's just me.
mhm.
I love helping people. I enjoy what I do, and really just making a difference in people's lives. That's just me. I'm all about positivity, positive mindset, uplifting the community, and really just making a difference in anyone who has come across or had the opportunity to meet me.
Nice. And I like how you said that being in this industry, it affected you, but in a positive way, which is great. Because usually the one thing that folks say is like, they some, not all, experience a negative impact in it. That's what encourage them to seek more guidance and learn more. So how did that happen for you? Like, what was the positive aspect that happened in your life for you to actually fulfill it?
So for me, it's positive, but it's a negative situation. So when I was 11 years old, my mother was in an accident and she lost her life. And she was only 38 years old, so she was still fairly young. Um, she had life insurance,
Mm,
and so that life insurance actually paid out. And essentially, when I say actually, I mean because you hear stories about people saying life insurance don't pay, but it
mm-hmm.
paid out. It paid out, right? And so, our family had the money to be able to cover funeral, final expenses, and each of my siblings were able to get some money to be able to start off in life. So it
Okay.
was really impactful in a positive way for me. So I know
Yeah.
the value of having it.
And you know what? That I'm obviously my condolences again because I know how it feels. Um, there's always been a past scenario that the myth about life insurance was like, oh, it doesn't pay out, and I'm glad that you're able to witness that and be like, I want to say a true believer, or just like you have to set the example because you've experienced it and you know what the potential is in life insurance. And I'm a type of person that I'll do whatever it takes for I'll do whatever it takes for people to understand that concept, because like especially when we see the GoFundMe's or we see our friends and family or loved ones are passing like flies, not to keep it, jokingly or whatnot. We know that
Yeah,
life insurance is needed because that's one thing we can guarantee, right? Is death and taxes.
absolutely. Yep.
So I'm glad that you're able to
Yes.
tell that story to folks, because I think that's the one thing is that people don't believe until they actually hear the story. So like when it comes to you, how do you work towards working with your community and encouraging them with life insurance and also um, maneuvering around their financial trauma?
So when it comes to the community, it's really important for us to understand that number one, historically, we did not have access to the information,
Hmm.
and the lack of access has created generational trauma because in our community, we did not know how money worked. We did not understand how finances work. We did not understand the literacy behind finances so that way we can teach our children. And we also didn't understand the value of insurance
Hmm.
and what that really does for a family generationally.
True.
And
True.
so when it comes to the trauma there, I think that is where we have to start. So for me, what I like to do is I like to educate and I like to, dispel some of those myths that we hear about money. That only certain people are wealthy or only certain people have access to the information to help their families to become more affluent, right?
Hmm.
So understanding that is really, really important. And so it's important also to help them to understand that, listen, now we have the information, we have access to it. I remember hearing something a while back. They said if you want to hide something from Black people, put it in a book,
Hmm.
right? I mean, I'm just being blunt.
And it's sad because so many of us don't actually read. So like, and I would even say like even if you could try to like listen to an audiobook to get that knowledge, right?
Yes,
But it's true.
absolutely.
The saddest
Yeah.
truth.
Yep, and so that's what I do. I connect with people through different groups, different events. I share I'm a part of different networking communities, so I share within that community. I also put on different webinars, different events, in order to just continue sharing. And I don't
Mhm.
charge a fee for these events. Maybe I should.
Mhm.
Some people say I should, but you know, right? That's another
Hey.
story. That's another conversation. But
I mean,
right? Yeah,
it depends. It depends, right? Like
right. It
once
does.
once you get to a certain I don't know why I say caliber, but not even caliber. Once you get to a certain level, you have to value the information that you're providing,
Mhm.
because without that information, folks wouldn't have been able to to the next steps to actually do what they have to do to overcome some of their financial trauma
I
or
hear that.
burden.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And the information is valuable. Absolutely. I just believe very much in having access,
True.
right? And so because of that access and because I like giving access to that information, I
Yeah.
feel if I were to charge, it would limit the access that individuals would have because, some people, may not have the funds to pay for that
Mhm.
knowledge. But I completely understand where you're coming from, and that makes sense.
And there's a setback with that one.
Yeah.
Because people are willing to
Yeah.
prioritize certain things
Mhm.
to into their life to be able to say like, and I'm not gonna like, simple fact is I haven't seen it yet, but this time of the year is when people are into giving, right?
Yes.
Me want to know how much people spend so far on the holidays. And if they're not willing to add value into their life to help with their financial traumas or relationship with money, then we have to have like a real discussion, right?
Yes.
Because it's gonna help you further yourself than hinder yourself. I've never seen anyone that learned to how to budget or to save have something bad happen to them once doing it.
Good points. And your previous,
That's just what I've acknowledged.
yes, it's true. And your previous podcast, your previous conversation that you had and what you shared was so very, very true. It's so real. When you mentioned about people spending when it comes to the holidays, being down 14% to the point where now, the average individual may spend about 600 versus, before they were spending a lot more than that. And even before the last couple of years, they were spending even more. Definitely shows where we are at as a society, as a community, and as a culture.
Hmm. And I find like, with that being said, we've been so used to being a consumer, right?
Yes.
And I wonder if that is part of the financial trauma. And I mean, we can both talk about ours as well, just so folks know. I can admit I am no saint.
Neither am I.
Right?
Neither am I.
But I've always had these discussions, like, if you're able to understand what kind of relationship you have with money, then you're able to let's say cope with your financial trauma, because every trauma that we have makes us do certain things, right?
Absolutely. I agree with that. And like you said, if we can understand it,
Hmm.
then we can know how it has impacted us today.
Yes.
And that is going to be the springboard for us to make changes so
Mhm.
that way our future will be better.
And yeah, so okay, so what are some financial traumas that you're aware of that is, let's say, most common to clients or the the people that you reach out to, that is dealing with, and how you're able to find strategies for them?
Yeah, so when it comes to financial trauma that I've come across,
Hmm.
individuals have saved money in the wrong vehicles.
Mm.
and lost money as a result of that, right? Not having diversifications when it comes to their investments,
Mm-hmm.
saving predominantly at the bank,
Mm-hmm.
right? We have to remember.
especially when it's like one or not even 1%, like point zero 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 zero.
And not only that, but it's a high interest savings account that's giving you 0.005% for 6 months. Then after that, it's 0.0001. Like, come on, how is that high? You know?
Ridiculous. Like, yo, honestly, I used to be cheesed a couple months ago. So upset. And I'm like, it's because I'm decided to go with these folks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
And
absolutely. So
okay,
back to
so
your back to your question there. I think that's honestly where it comes from. It's
mhm.
just that lack of knowledge,
Yeah.
right? Lack of knowledge, and also um, not having the right places to go to put our money,
Mhm.
not
Mhm.
having true understanding of financial literacy,
Mhm.
right? And also not having the mentorship and the coaching to support you in the process of achieving your
Okay.
goals.
Yes, and I'm glad you mentioned all of those. I want to put a pin on the mentoring and coaching. So how important has that been for you in your, like, since you've been on this beautiful earth?
Let's talk a little bit. Let's go back back to the childhood, for example, and when I
Mm,
was in my earlier years. So I'm one of those individuals that I have been one of those individuals who like to learn on my own.
mhm. Yes. Yes.
I
Do I?
believe that
Do I? Do I? Why am I saying it so DIY? Boom.
DIY, yeah,
Yeah.
DIY, right?
Mhm.
But the reality is that when you do things on your own and you learn and you make your own mistakes, it takes you longer to achieve something than
Yes.
if you were to speak to someone who has already achieved what you want or is working and was further ahead than you are. So
Mhm.
mentorship is so important in that regard because once I started to latch on to some mentors in the industry,
Mhm.
individuals that have what I want, individuals that live the way I want, and so forth, I'm able to now understand what to do,
Mhm.
when to do it, how
Mhm.
to do it, and with whom to do it with,
Yes. True.
right? Because now essentially you're learning from other people's mistakes rather than learning from your own.
Isn't that the best thing to do? And that's true because a lot of and I know when it comes to you your parental guidance was different than others, and I so I can't even, obviously we can't even blame your parents because they did what they had to do to protect you guys, right? So they had the knowledge. It's just unfortunate that you didn't get to seek it further into your teenage years. Because,
Right.
in our teenage years, I think that's when we start, like, even though we should be knowing it earlier, we actually get a grasp of things when we're in high school, especially when people's chests are high and they want them Nikes and Jordans. So I'm glad you're able to find like mentorship and coaching and to see their mistakes and live through that, because I think that's one of the main things that a lot of us has forgotten, right?
Absolutely.
And it boggles my mind, like I and I'm not judging anyone because everyone's path is different, but it's like if you acknowledge that this trauma that has
Hmm.
been happening in your family for decades, it's up to you now, especially with technology, to find how we can kind of steer away from that. And we could have started
Yes.
doing that from high school at least, right? So
That is
that's
honestly when we needed to learn it.
Because what? I know I went to King, and we had to wear the uniform, prim and proper, but I think we only had it for like a week, where it was
Hmm.
discussing about financial literacy, and and that's me being nice. What about you? What was your experience in high school with financial literacy?
My experience with financial literacy in high school, honestly, I don't even remember if they had a week.
Wow, right? It's
I don't think
definitely
they had a week. I think it was just math class,
mm,
learning to do a couple of calculations, and maybe one other class, parenting class, where they talked a little bit about budget, you
okay.
know.
True, true.
But
Yes, 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 yes. Or
yeah,
having the egg. You better keep this egg. I'm like, yo, fam, I gotta keep this egg alive. Let me get a next egg from the grocery store.
oh man, it's like, how would they know?
How are they gonna know? How will they know? But yes, like I think it's from that time or even earlier to have these discussions or have it as like a family. Like we don't have to be having that cliche like, no, this is grown people's conversation. Don't worry about money. You'll figure it out when you're 18, right?
That's the wrong way of thinking, and I've seen so many people do that. So many people.
So
It's
when
so
yeah.
it's so bad.
So how do you fix that narrative if you've been able to? Even if
You know,
and that once you get that narrative, a little tweaked, you're gold. Right?
I'm still learning.
I know when we're speaking to the certain generation.
Some people are just stuck in their ways, and
Yeah.
it's unfortunate because you know there's a mentality around, and especially in our community, that
Mhm.
our children will have to figure things out on their own the way I did. And that is just such a wrong way of thinking, because now you're subjecting them to go through the failures that you went through, and
Yes.
and those failures, you came through them, but they may not,
Very true.
right? And so for me particularly, it's so important to start when you're young,
Mhm.
and to be surrounded by the individuals that have what you want, so that way you can start to learn what they know.
Agree. Agree. Cuz teach one, you know?
Each one teach one, yeah.
Mhm. Because I and I know it's still a learning progress and you're still trying to figure that one out. Do you have like from the financial traumas that you have mentioned, which ones have you been able to crack the code and to be able to well, not I want to say convince, but it was like a aha, I understand what you're saying, and you're like, oh, thank God.
Yeah, good point. That's what you're saying now. Okay, I get it. So you know what?
Wow.
One of them has been the conversation about insurance, and
Okay.
insurance being the protection and the foundation of our financial house. Really, that's the reality of it. Most
Mhm.
people who are afraid of insurance are unsure, unaware, or uneducated with regards to how it works
Yes.
and the value of having it, and starting young. If we had insurance when we were younger, the cost would be so much cheaper, so much more, cost effective, and we would be able to accumulate a lot more wealth faster.
Indeed, indeed.
So, yeah,
Yeah, I get that. And so you're able to figure out the life insurance. How about the aspect of, and I think we were gonna mention it, critical illness.
yes. So, for critical illness, well, let me back it up a little bit. So, when it comes to the life insurance, the way I have a conversation about it is basically just looking at protection in a
Okay.
sense of you're protecting yourself before you actually have an event that
Mm-hmm.
you need it. So it's like building and digging your well and having it filled with water before you go and drink,
Hmm.
right? It's like planting seeds in the ground and having the fruits and vegetables grow from that before you are hungry, right?
Yes.
And so it's so important to have those things in place because at the end of the day, we all know that we are not going to be on this earth forever. There will be a day when we are no longer here.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we knew when that day was, we would get insurance the day before,
Exactly.
right? Or at least a week before, because I mean, sometimes it takes underwriting a little while, right?
Jeez. Jeez. True. 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 Because you can't. You know.
You can't rush the process.
You wish you
So
can, but yeah.
yeah, some companies provide instant approval, right?
Yes.
But at the same time, having that in place, critical illness is another one as well.
Hmm.
Critical illness is living benefits. So while you are alive, you can
Yes.
still benefit from having that insurance, right? You
Mm.
don't have to pass away for your family to benefit from it, right? You have that insurance in place in the event of a cancer, heart attack, a stroke, paralysis, brain tumor, you know, any type of event. There's well over 20 events that you can have access to tax-free funds that can
Yeah.
cover and help us out within those situations. So just dispelling that and
Hmm.
having people to understand that, listen, it's not something to be afraid of. You
Hmm.
have insurance on your car. Yes, it's legal. It's illegal to have a car without it,
Right.
but that shouldn't be the only reason why you have insurance on your car. You want to protect your vehicle, and people will pay easily $500-600 a month just to protect their vehicle that's replaceable, but they
Pause.
wouldn't put
Pause.
50
Pause.
or
Pause. Who is paying 500, 600 a month? Insurance? You
some
must some.
people.
You must some. Sorry.
Some people,
Sorry.
yeah.
Sorry.
I mean, if you have bad credit and whatnot, and you have a bad driving history and so forth, some people are paying that amount for. I mean, yes, more so on the car payment side with those that have
Okay.
bad
Okay.
credit, but for
That
insurance,
makes
for car insurance, I've seen some quotes, and I've seen some people who have insurance and they're paying $400 or $500 a month on car insurance, just one car,
Well, I
just
mean,
so.
I just got lucky and finally saw my not, I was supposed to say life insurance, my car insurance go down drastically, and I was like,
Congrats. Yeah.
finally. You guys are teasing me. But I think if I was at like that range that you just mentioned, I think I would just find a different alternative to get around. Right? It's just because it's too much. It's too much.
Yeah,
It's too
it's a
much.
lot.
But with the critical illness, so you did mention, I heard brain cancer. I think I heard brain cancer, right?
Yeah, there's cancer.
Okay, or
You know,
different types of cancers.
yeah,
So
the cancers.
someone that it's, I wanted to say prone in their family, are they eligible for critical illness? If gosh, if it runs in the family.
Yeah, if it runs in the family, there are some companies that will provide you with, critical illness coverage that is guaranteed issue.
Okay.
If there is a high risk for you specifically. But
Mhm.
also some companies depends on the situation, depends on the type of cancer, depend on the age of onset,
Mhm.
depending on your health, depending on some of the challenges that you've experienced or the individual who's reviewing their needs for insurance. Depending on all of those factors, once an application goes through, a
Wow.
company can still issue them critical illness insurance, even if there's a higher risk for them. There may be a rating, right? Because companies do issue insurance with a rating, which means that they would pay a little bit more than the normal rate,
Okay.
right? Because it's a higher risk,
Mhm.
right? And so it's a same situation.
Okay, that is reasonable, at least. But and I'll say reasonable as this, like I've known family members to have like strokes, and they told me, they're like, "Yo, if it wasn't for this payout, I don't know what I would have done, because all till now they haven't gone back to work."
Yeah.
Right? And I'll say At least 6 years.
Mm,
So
wow.
like imagine that, like, and strokes. It's a lot of things can happen with strokes, right? Um,
Absolutely.
but I'm glad they were able to have a payout. But it is a good thing to think about. And what if they've had, so let's say they've had a stroke or they've had an illness and they're better, but it are they able to be covered afterwards with that same um symptom? I want to say symptoms.
Yeah, that's same,
Or
the
illness.
same condition. Same condition.
Condition. Yes, yes, yes. I was like, it's a politically correct thing to say. I don't want to
Yeah.
offend anyone.
No, I know, I know. So, to answer your question, yes, there are companies out there that will cover individuals that have had an event.
Okay.
Um, one of the companies that I recently, and one of the beautiful thing about position that I'm in is, when I started my career in this industry, I was
Hmm.
working with a captive company. They were only limited to one product, one different solution, one solution, and so forth, one company.
Mm,
Now I transitioned to a brokerage network and to a company that offers multiple partnerships.
okay.
And so when you have multiple partnerships, if you have an individual who's more of a higher risk, you
Yeah.
can now go to your other higher risk, more guaranteed issue providers rather than only being limited to one or two or a few.
Okay. No,
So we can definitely shop around, and that's the benefit of being a broker.
true. I mean, I'm gonna say something silly. Everyone likes different options, and especially the option that works for them. So I think that is nice that you're able to shop around and see which one works for you. Because I think I know who you're talking about, but and I also know that people are more even though folks are very undecisive, but they also like to see what their options are on the table. They're like, "Oh, so I can do that. Okay, well, what about this? Yeah, I got something for you there. Boom."
Absolutely.
So it's like they're like, there's no way I can like not do this, right?
Yeah,
If
exactly.
if
Right.
something works, no matter what, something will work for you. And when it's a scenario like that, I'm hoping, and obviously it goes based on what they can afford, right? Because that is the main thing that you're focusing on, is making sure things are affordable or people are able to gain access,
Yes,
things that
exactly.
they're not accustomed to.
100%.
Mm.
Yeah, and that's another beautiful I would say perk
Mhm.
of being a broker is that you can definitely find, because some companies, their rates are higher than
Mhm.
other companies. But if you're only stuck with one company, whatever the rate is, that's the rate,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
So if you can look at other companies and say, okay, over here, this company is offering this, and this features, advantages, and benefits, and
Yeah.
this is the rate. Now the rate, the fee is going to be proportionate based on what you're getting, right? So now you can see more value in that. So definitely being able to offer multiple. And when I meet with anyone, I always go to like a win quote is what we use. And we use win quote. And so I go there, I
Mhm.
put in all the information based on the financial analysis. I put in the amount of insurance that they need. For example, I look at all the different companies. I say, okay, this company, what I know, they offer this, and then based on what the individual is looking to do with their life and their career and their family, I can
Mhm.
say, okay, these top three companies are the ones that I'm going to present. And then I put together a plan for each of those companies. And then I present and say, okay, this is your good, your
Yeah.
better, and your best, right? This
Okay.
is your Ferrari. This is your, your Cadillac, and this is your Honda.
I'm glad you're able to make it relatable to them, just so they get that experience first of all, and then be like, "You're so silly." I'm like, okay, that's why. Me want the Ferrari, and that's one
Yes.
thing. People always want a Ferrari, but they can only handle a Honda.
Exactly. And so in those situations, then we look at their budget, we look at their spendings, their expenses on a monthly basis and say, okay, where can we cut? Where can we limit? Where can you sacrifice a little bit for now?
Hmm.
So that way you can have a long-term gain of where you want to go. Because if they can only afford the Honda, but they need and they really want that Cadillac, we can say, okay, let's figure out a way to get you that Cadillac,
Okay.
right? And if that's the case, and you know what they can help for start with is the Honda. We start with the Honda. We build up their situation over time,
Hmm.
build up their we lower their expenses, lower their debts, and now they have more money freed up to be able to go for that Cadillac, and go from there.
And let me ask, average, how long does it take for someone to get from the Honda to the Cadillac to the Ferrari? Realistically, because I don't want anyone to, especially right now, I want people to be like to understand, like you can't jump from one to two or to three like within seconds, right?
Right.
So what's the progress with someone that's starting from there, and then the success of them getting to the Ferrari? Because I want people to understand that concept as well.
Absolutely. So starting from the good to go to the better and the best.
Mm-hmm.
Depends on the person. It's situational. It's always situational. So to give an average based on individuals that I've been fortunate to serve, it takes a couple of years, right? It takes a couple of years, but it's disciplined, focused, dedicated years. So they're
Mm-hmm.
disciplined in looking at their monthly expenses. They're disciplined in looking at where their money is going. They're cutting out the fast food every week or every day. They're not going to Tim Hortons or to Starbucks every day. You know what I mean? They're cutting those things out and they're making their coffee at home. You know what I mean? They're doing right. So
So
it's
okay,
discipline.
so I like that because I always say that as well. But there's always those people like, oh, what's $2.85 going to do that? I like, and this is what I've heard, and I love how you said discipline. So like we'll get to that. Like someone's like, Camille or Morlan, I gotta live my life. I only live once. I'm not cutting out that Tim Hortons. I'm going to wait in the line for 15 minutes when I could have done it at home. I don't care. So how do you encourage those folks?
Yeah. So if you said that to me and you and I were in that conversation and you said, you know what, I love, exactly what you just said.
Mm,
I would say to you, okay, I understand that.
mhm,
And you know what? I can completely understand where you're coming from because I was there too, right? And for me, I learned that if I wanted to really achieve what I really want to achieve,
mhm,
there's going to be some sacrifices. Now, I'm not saying you're going to have to do it forever,
mhm,
but let's take a look at the numbers behind it. Let's take a look at this. And you say, okay, $5, you know, a day
mhm,
times, let's say 5 days a week is when you're going. That's $25 a week,
mhm.
right? Times four. That's $100 a month.
Okay, I can handle $100 a month. I'm just being that person. I can handle that. $100.
Right? But and then I would look back and say, okay, well, Camille, look at your budget. This is what we've put together. This is where your money goes on a monthly basis,
Mhm.
right? So now you are spending more than what you're earning.
Oh,
So in
really?
order to get where you want to go,
Mm.
what do you think you need to do? Do you really want to get there, or are you just saying that?
I do want to get there, but okay. So it's only $100 a month. How
Uh-huh.
much more am I spending a look at the budget.
Yeah, exactly. So the budget will tell us because the numbers don't lie. When we do the numbers, and that's why I think people are afraid to sit down with a financial professional to go through their budgets because they're afraid of the numbers. They know what it looks like,
They do.
right?
They
And
do.
they're embarrassed, and rightfully so. It's their situation.
Hmm.
But you know what? Staying in that, if you're stuck in the mud
Yeah.
and you know it's mud and you know you need to get out of the mud,
Hmm.
you got to find a way to get out of it. So if you don't get out of it, that mud is just going to keep you there, and it's not you can't change your circumstances if you're not willing to change your views on the circumstances.
And I love how and it still goes back to discipline and being embarrassed with the numbers. Um, and that goes back to financial trauma, right? Um, we're we've all been in a scenario where we're embarrassed to tell our numbers, whether it's like to a family member, to a loved one, to a partner. We're embarrassed. We don't want them to know, like,
Mhm.
"Oh, of course, I know how to take care of my money. Of course, I know I'm spending $100 on coffee when I could have made it at home and not wait
Yeah.
15 minutes and be late for work, right?
It's
No judgments to the folks that do it. I'm just joking. This is entertainment, but also, um, that discipline and having that goal that they want to get to the next step is important.
is
And I
important.
yeah, and knowing that it might take a couple years, but you'll be happy at the end of the road. Then you'll be able to have the Ferrari and you're like, Bob, Bob, Bob,
Yeah,
look, what's
exactly.
this? I really needed to make a soundboard because it's ridiculous. So, for the folks that have been able to reach their Ferrari, let's say, what comments have you heard them say? Because I think that is a key thing as well with understanding financial trauma.
Yeah. So I'll give you a scenario based on a client that I've been fortunate to serve.
Hmm.
Um, this client, husband and wife, two children, beautiful family,
Hmm.
hardworking, very professional, just really good people.
Hmm.
And when they met with me, they were working with someone else in another company that they couldn't get a hold of them even if they waited weeks.
Damn.
And so I sat down with them and I said, okay, let's take a look at your situation. We did a financial review.
Hmm.
We put together a budget, put together a whole situation that can, the whole plan that can
Hmm.
improve their situation. Shared it with them and I said, this is your plan. Um, the husband had a big debt, because he wanted to go into the medical field, and it's not easy. It's expensive.
See.
So that was something that was hovering over the family. Put together the plan for them
Hmm.
on a yearly basis. I review and check in with them to see how things are going. How was this year so far? What have they been able to do? How's the planning going, running the budgets and all of that. And within a matter of a year, just shy over a year,
Hmm.
he was able to get that debt down more than half
Nice.
by
Nice.
just discipline and hard
Mm,
work. And yes, you had to earn extra income through work and so forth, and find different ways to generate more funds to be able
correct.
to pay that debt down faster.
Hmm.
But there was the reply that came to me was, thank you so much.
Nice.
You have changed our lives because you've helped us to understand where our money was going.
Hmm.
We were able to now make some changes, and believe me, they still went on vacation. They
Hey,
still did things that they enjoyed.
So, and
Yeah.
I'm glad you mentioned that because oh, now I want to ask a question. And obviously that it's probably a yes. But do you believe folks could save and pay off debt at the same time? Or do you think
Save.
they should just focus? So there's three options. Actually, no. There's only two. Save and pay off debt, or just pay off debt then save.
It depends on how fast they want to accelerate their savings, how fast they want to accelerate their, um, what depending on what their goals are, right? If they are saving and paying off their debts, I would say you got to do both, because if you think about it this way,
Hmm.
if you have an emergency while you're paying off your debt,
Yeah.
now you're going to be looking to go into more debt to pay off that emergency.
Hmm.
But if you have an emergency savings where money is sitting in and you're building that up while you're paying off your debt, now you have options. Because
Yeah.
now, if you have an emergency, you have an emergency fund that can now fund your emergency. Mind you, if it's more than what's in the fund, you may have to think about, you know, what you need to do. But
This thing. Hmm.
if you're just paying off your debts and then you find yourself in an emergency, guess where that money is going to come from to fund that emergency?
Exactly. Exactly.
So I definitely feel that, it's situational, but my recommendation would be to have your debts being paid
Hmm.
and also have, some emergency savings. And the third thing I would add as well
Mm.
is to have some investments going,
Okay.
because
Hmm.
you remember the debts, you're having to pay interest on that debt
Correct.
that's eating away more of your money.
Hmm.
Your
And inflation.
savings, yep, and inflation, exactly. That's the silent killer people don't talk about, right? Now, your savings, depending on where you're saving, especially if you're saving at the bank, like what we talked about earlier,
Yeah.
that's 0.0000000,
Zero.
right? It's not growing anywhere.
Zero, 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 zero. I actually want everyone to look on their bank, not bank statements. Go on their bank account and see how much, especially their interest, high interest savings, tax free savings, all the type of savings you have. I want everyone that's on here to go, whoever's listening or listening, watching the replay, tell me how much your bank is giving you in savings. And if it's not 5% right now, at least come talk to us because we have
Mhm.
deals. We got
Yes,
deals. But yes, agree. I agree totally. Savings, paying off debt, and investing. And I always say savings first because I feel like once you get the habit of saving, I feel like it's a broken record that I always say, but it's fine. Is once you get the habit of saving, then you can graduate to investing,
investing.
and then you'll be
Absolutely.
like, "Oh shit!"
What
Like,
have I been doing all my life?
right? What was your first experience in investing that was good and bad? And then I'm always going to make it relate back to financial trauma because trust me, investing.
Okay, I'll start with the bad first.
Okay.
So after I turned 18, I got access to the funds that my mother's life insurance policy had paid out.
Mhm.
And the lack of having financial literacy and having a mentor and a coach really, it really created a lot of challenges for me, because in a matter of 2 years,
Mhm.
I'll just put in perspective. The amount that was equivalent, the amount that was that was paid to me was about 30,000.
Okay.
In a matter of 2 years, that 30,000 went to zero. Yes. Yeah, just like that, right? Imagine a balloon inflating, psst, out, right? So,
That hurts. That hold on. You can't tell me things and expect me not to react. That
yeah,
hurts because um I know without like with with the knowledge, it could have doubled or
Oh,
10x
she
and
did
stuff,
more
right?
than me. Absolutely. At some of the
Fuck.
investments that I have access to and have had access to for a little while now,
Yeah.
on the side of this, industry. Oh man, I could have put that money where the wealthy put their money and leveraged their growth in order to grow that money. Like that's just,
Yo, I'm
yeah.
hurt. Yeah, I'm hurt.
Yeah. It
So
still
wait,
hurts.
so I know it's a tender subject because what was that investment, or what was that the one thing that you did that like it just did gone? Because I want
Okay.
I because and the reason why I know I have to, dig hit your soul a little bit just so folks could hear it loud and clear.
Yes. Oh,
I'm
what would
sorry
you
for my head.
what do you think the average person who is 18 years old that got $30,000 would do with that money?
Car,
Yep. What else?
Jordans, clothes, alcohol.
Yeah, it wasn't the Jordans for me because I've never been, that person.
Yeah.
But for me, it was the car. It was traveling. It was on my girlfriend at the time, who, yeah, I won't even go there.
We don't want to get the wife upset.
Not even, it's not even that. It's not even that. It's just that it's not worth mentioning. Like, yeah. Um, it was that. It was just spending. It was just spending, 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 living life, and doing what I wanted to do. And anytime I had a situation I needed money, instead of working and earning that money, I would just go there, pull, 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 pull. And by the time it was done, I looked around and it was like, whoa, where did this money go?
Mhm.
Where did all this money go? And I wish that I had someone in my corner to say, hey, listen, this is what you should do. 10,000 of that, enjoy it. Live your life, do what you want to do, enjoy it. God bless you.
Yeah.
10,000 of the remainder, invest it for the future. Another 10. This was back in the time when you could buy a house for $10,000 down payment.
Listen. Manure. Manure.
So imagine if I had gotten started on that journey that way, like who knows where life would have been today, 20 plus years later.
Yeah. Fudge. I'm I'm hearing this story for the first time, folks. So like it hurts because that was similar. Didn't go to zero. Is this I know how to make, I'm not going to say fast money, but I know how to leverage money to
Hmm.
make it go to add value. I
You let your money work for you.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like futures, I was doing futures.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, I kid you not. I kid you not. I was on vacation. I was on vacation. And I'm like to my friends, I'm like, boom, look, just made $1,000 and we're just here on the beach. Boom. They're like, what? I was like, yeah. I'm like, I was like, okay, boom. Next day, $1,000 again. I'm like, you see it there? See it there, y'all? Your futures is the thing.
Yeah.
Third day, boom, $1,000. I'm like, yo, this whole trip is covered. Like, we're good. Like, yo, let's go out. Boom, bam,
Hmm.
bam. Talked to my mentor. Spoke to my mentor. He's like, excellent, good for you. So, what? Thursday, Thursday's a holiday for the states. You should just like just chill and just enjoy your holiday. I'm like, yeah, 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 yeah. Greed, greed got to me.
Hmm.
I'm seeing it in the morning. I was like, oh, they're open. They're open on this day. Nah, 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 nah. Let me try to do it again. I did it 3 days in a row. Psh, watch it be the whole week.
Hmm.
Didn't have reception that day. Went out for the whole
Mm.
day. I literally lost all that money. I went back to zero, and I was like, "Oh my gosh,
Wow.
Cam, Cam, you were
Yeah.
no, don't do it. And you still got greedy, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I've learned, like, there's times when I feel the cockiness coming true, and it's like, yeah, 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 pop, pop. Then the universe just comes and licks you down and say, hold this, humble yourself. It
Mm-hmm.
can be gone in
Humble.
any moment. And that's the one thing
Yep.
that s- I think it's harder for folks that hasn't been at the top and then lost it. They've only been, and no diss to anyone, has only been here and doesn't know how to get to that spot and lose it again. Like, I mean, I'd feel like we're
Yeah.
like in the middle, right? So we see both, like, ooh, well, I'm not that bad, but I want to be up there still, right? And we
Exactly.
know
Yep.
how to get up there, but what it's we also know what it's like to be down there as well.
It's like to be
And it
down there. Yep.
yeah, because you because ideally, like, what middle class folks are, some, not all, are two paychecks away from
Yep.
being, if they didn't
From
get
being
like,
bankrupt or from being in poverty.
and
Yeah.
it's crazy, and it's scary. But I think understanding, like, once again, your trauma, and being able to, like, I'm not gonna say you're gonna be able to master it, especially by yourself.
Mm-hmm.
But when you have someone on your in your corner, like you mentioned
Yes.
before, they're either gonna, they're gonna make you make the mistakes until you feel it, because
Mm-hmm.
there's been a lot of lessons learned, right? And they're there, and they're like, well, what did you learn from this mistake?
Yeah.
I learned not to do this. Okay, are you gonna do it again? And you're, like a child. No.
No.
But you're gonna do it again until you actually are like, all right, all right, all right, all right, all right. I learned my lesson. I'm
Yeah.
gonna do better, right? So I love how the example that you mentioned before was you like to do things by yourself, right? But then
Yes.
what was that turning point where you're like, oh, mentors, coaches, yes, this is the thing.
This is the thing. Yeah. For me, it was relationships. When it comes to being in relationships, um, people who have been in relationships longer than you have so much more that they can share, and individuals that have been married longer than you also have a lot more that they can share as well. So
Mm-hmm.
seeking the right mentorship was a turning point for me because you know my previous relationships that I've been in really left me with a lot of trauma,
Mm-hmm.
and so I didn't really get help. And now, definitely getting help, talking to someone who is married a lot longer and who has that experience
Yes.
and who can provide that mentorship. And then when it comes to business as well, for me, also being able to learn from individuals in the business that have been further along, that earn more income than I, currently earn,
Mm-hmm.
and have that wealth of experience to share.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was it for me. And when it comes to the finance piece,
Yeah.
it's so important to be able to put our guard down.
Mm-hmm.
And first of all, we have to trust and respect the individual that we're seeking advice from. If we don't trust them, we don't respect them, there's nothing that you can get from them, because even if they help you and even if they tell you what's in your best interest, you're not going to listen, right? And that on top of it as well is so important. But for me particularly, I needed to lean on their expertise and their advice in order
Mm-hmm.
to make the right decisions for myself. So that turning point for me was through, number one, relationships, and number
Yeah.
two, being in this industry, making a change from the first company to the second. I needed to get that mentorship. The previous experience, the first company, mentors were there, but they weren't really.
Mm.
They were semi-retired and so forth, so they were living their dream life. But
Okay. True.
here, the mentors are not necessarily retired. They're earning great income, but they're
Hmm.
not retired because they're still in it. They're still doing it. So having access to them is a lot easier,
Yeah.
which makes it a lot better because now each one teach one.
Yes.
Iron sharpens iron, and
Mm.
when that happens, now the knife can cut a lot easier.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I like that. I like that. Okay, so relationships. Um, darn it. There's another financial trauma that you mentioned before. Oh, you didn't mention your good one. So, cause I was so traumatized by the bad one. So
Same.
what was the good thing with investing? Cause whoo, we want to give people encouragement as well, right? So we're gonna
Yes, yes. Um, and I actually had another bad one that I was going to talk about, which
we
was
how about this? You say too bad and too good, but you have to say the
oh
good
my
one
goodness.
first.
All right. So, um, the good one when it comes to investing and having access to funds that can truly help your money to grow faster and work harder for you, that was what really made a difference for me. Because once I understand the rule of 72 and the doubling principle that's related to growing your money and spending time in the market rather than trying to time the market, once I
Yes.
understood those things, those concepts, it really was more so about timing, consistency, and discipline,
Mm,
right? Because now you have to, regardless, yes, we're going through some financial turmoils right now, but individuals that have money invested, if they remember the reasons why they're investing in the first place, it's not to take the money out now, it's to take the money out in the future. And if that's the case, then stay the course,
mm,
stay the course, right? Because at the end of the day, all throughout history, you know, the different trials, the different challenges, the wars, the earthquakes, all the different things that happen in life, the markets have always recovered. And when they recover, oftentimes they recover a lot more and a lot higher than what they were at before they tanked,
mm-hmm.
right? So it's so important to be able to understand that and to have that discipline. So when I got access to different companies that, invest money in segregated funds, for example, where you can
Mm,
have not only the growth of your money mimicking mutual funds, but you can also have that being protected.
yeah.
You can also have that guarantees built into it.
Yeah.
That made the difference for me. And it's making the difference for so many people in our community who are afraid of losing money.
So I want you to say it one more time. Of all the times that there's been um a hurricane, earthquake, tragic events, how many times has the market gone back up?
Always. It always returns. And in most
You
cases, it's like
don't say.
in most cases, it's like 12 to 18 months window between that, right? So just stay the course. And at that particular time when it's low, like right now, this is the time to invest. This is the time to put more money in.
Mm,
Because if you look at it, it's a buying opportunity. You want to buy low and sell high.
correct.
When Warren Buffett says, be fearful when people are greedy and be greedy when people are fearful.
But I also want it to be realistic. So for individuals that are going through financial trauma or uncertainty,
Yes.
how realistic is it for them to um, invest? Or what is one, and this is only for educational purposes only,
Mhm.
what one or two um places would you suggest to them to go to, even if it's like $1, $2, something? Like, what can someone that is in financial burden, financial uncertainty able to do with investing? Because we want to be realistic as well, right?
Absolutely. So, what I would suggest, number one,
Mm-hmm.
speak to someone like yourself or myself to find out and to review their financial situation.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one. If we don't know where we are, there's no way for us to know where we are going to go. So we have to understand where we are first and then speak to a professional like us, be able to get a roadmap, to get a detailed plan that explains what steps you need to take.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can start utilizing different savings vehicles, number one, that are out there that provide you with a higher interest on your money. Like, for example, I have access to a company that provides anyone with a bank account that they can have no fees, no monthly fees. And I know you do too, right?
I know.
Exactly.
Uh, and this is another question for you folks that are listening and watching the replay and all that stuff. And I'm not judging, but which or how much is your bank's fees every month? And are you happy about it?
Big
Hey.
question. Big question. It's a big question.
Because I know
Most
how
people
much some
are
of
not
them
happy.
pay, you know.
Yeah, most people are not happy, um, but they won't do anything about it.
Oof, oof, why? Eh,
Fear?
fear. Mm-hmm.
I think it's fear. I think it's
Mm,
fear. It's fear of the unknown. It's comfort. They're afraid of changing. And maybe to a certain degree, it's because they have mistrust. They've experienced so much trauma financially that they don't trust that something that sounds too good to be true really is true,
yeah,
right?
I hear that.
So
Yep.
a lot of times because of those, we're hesitant.
Yes. I,
Yeah.
you hit it on the nail. Like fear is the number one thing that fear actually obviously all the ones that you mentioned, fear, comfortability, the unknown, and just being able to trust. It's better to be with the devil you know than the devil you don't. Right? So it's like and you know what? I understand like most Caribbean folks have stayed with the same bank
Hmm.
account for the longest unless they really truly burn them. They stay with their Caribbean people are very loyal, eh?
Yep.
Very
Trust me.
loyal.
Trust me. And that's the thing. We're loyal to those who are not loyal to us.
mm, bar. Jeez. So true.
That
So
is, and
true.
and that continued to have that
Ripple effect.
cycle. The
Mm-hmm.
cycle is being, because if you think about it, the lack of education
Mm-hmm.
has created dependency.
Which is one of the
And
financial traumas.
exactly.
Jeez.
Right?
Yeah.
So with that, there's a dependency on what we know and what we can see.
Mm-hmm.
And most banks, you're seeing them at the corner, big major, plazas. You're gonna see a bank there. So
Yeah.
most people think and associate, okay, the bank is where I gotta go for my money. But
Yeah.
no, listen, there's just so many other options. And that's why we're continuing to grow and continuing to look for people who want to get into the industry that we're in to be able to serve and help more people and spread the word. Because there are institutions out there that have been around longer than a lot of these banks. And
Wow.
they will get you can get access to investments and savings and insurance and all these different solutions that can really help you and your family to change your family tree, change
Mhm.
generations, and make a difference. But if you don't know, you don't know. And they say
How
what
do
you
they
don't
know?
know can hurt you. How would they
Exactly.
know?
Hmm.
We got to share it with them. So that's why I'm grateful for platforms like this, that you're doing, because you're bringing this awareness. You're helping people to understand exactly what it is that they can get access to,
Hmm.
and you're doing it in a way that's creative, that's going to be available for them to be able to review and look at over time.
Exactly. And I'm glad that you're able to shed the light as well, because you have the experience, whether it's personal or in the business, to be able to show them the facts, right? And but we haven't forgotten the good things, because I don't want them to. They're like, "Oh, Camille, are you guys going to talk about good things?" Yes, of course. There's always good investments. So the segregated fund is what you
Mhm.
mentioned as a good one. So what was the other bad one? And then we go back to the good. So because we
Okay,
want to
so the other bad investment that I made, initially back when uh, I think cryptocurrency was like, people were talking about it, and there's all that stuff was going on, and Bitcoin and this, and you know, uh, there's so many things that was going on, and I got caught up into one of those companies that they created a platform where you can trade money, and you could buy U.S. Tether or whatever it was called, and I didn't understand it,
hmm
and I invested in it, and now I can't get my money. So for me, it's like, yeah,
it hurts. It hurts. And
yeah,
and
it
and I
hurts.
know there's gonna be some folks that listen to it like, nah, 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 don't diss up crypto, Cam and Morlan. Don't diss it up. Remember, when you're not aware of how something works, we actually don't see the potential, but there is ones that will bun us, right? And that is okay for us to say like, I don't know about this one. You know what? Let me just stay in my lane and stick to
Hmm.
the ones I know. And there's nothing wrong. So for the folks that do crypto, forex, NFTs, futures, options,
Yeah.
there are
Mhm.
so many options that we can choose from with
Yes,
investing. But if we don't know the full potential, it's best for us not to join, right?
exactly. And not only that, but also people have been burned by taking their life savings and investing it into something that's supposed to be the next biggest thing. And I always say, invest into what you can understand,
hmm
but at the same time, be wary of investment vehicles that require you to invest all of your money.
Exactly.
You have the option and the choices to put, a small amount into
hmm
something to test it out to see if it's going to work for you, and
Exactly.
leave the rest of your money on the side in a, investment vehicle that is going to give you a good return. And I say good return, I mean like anywhere from like 5% or more,
Yeah.
right? Because, companies can provide that,
hmm
right? And there are institutions that will provide you with that. And guess what? You don't have to have $250,000 or $500,000 in order to invest just to have
Alive.
access to it. No, you can start with $25 a month.
Boom,
Like,
bam, bam. And I'm glad that you mentioned $25 a month, because I think sometimes people get scared of like, oh, where do you want me to get this money from? Are you able to save 20 or put $25 a month away to do this? If yes, then you'll soon see in a matter of time, whether it's a year to 5 years, that it will go up um to
exponentially.
thank you. That's the word I was trying to say. It will go up like that, and it's I dislike when and I've seen it in an article not too long ago, where someone tried to do fast money. Fast money goes away real quick as well. I think, shucks, let me find this damn article. This darn article. Sorry, sorry, sorry.
Yeah.
There was golly, and it was a lady that I want to say she lost $7,000, and she didn't have to, but she
Hmm.
was desperate. Yeah, $7,000 to an investment scam on TikTok.
Wow. They're everywhere, people. They're everywhere.
And
Yeah.
it you know and you know what, I want to talk about the types of financial traumas. I do have it here because you guys know I like to, give y'all some knowledge, some bangers. Um, and let me know if you know these types of financial trauma, or if you could say like, yeah, yeah, yeah. Financial dependency.
Hmm.
So that's like you're relying on a person to take care of you. Whether I mean, children, it's acceptable. Like they're like, hello, you brought me into the world. Right? Or like sometimes parents
Yeah.
or
Don't
elderly.
neglect this one.
I mean, some of them. And elderly folks. So that's one of the uh traumas. There's compulsive spending, and I think we spoke about that. The car. Right?
Yep.
Another one is underspending, which is, I think I've heard this actually. My dad told me
Hmm.
that one of his, because it's anxiety, right? You remember the past of not having money, so you want to underspend so you have the money, right? But it's kind of like a trauma from
Yes.
childhood. So one of my dad's
Okay.
friend, he had two houses and didn't fix them, renovate them, or anything, right? And them still had chicken bok.
Hmm.
I'm like, why are you still eating chicken bok? You have enough money to buy certain things. So, like some people underspend or are much very frugal to be able to live a certain way. And I know some people are gonna be like, Cam, you're a little bit stingy. I'm like, hey, I'm stingy on the things I want to be stingy on. Okay. Also, workalism,
Hmm.
um, workaholics. Workaholics. This is a response to financial trauma as a person that works excessively to avoid future financial difficulties or traumas. And this could lead to
Wow.
overwork and burnout,
Yes.
which is serious for mental and physical. I know someone's gonna be like, Camille.
And I want to add something to that. What you just mentioned, burnout, because a lot
Mm,
of people, especially in our community, um, we tend to believe that we have to go to work seven
yes.
days a week,
Mm,
and that we have to work um, on days that we're not feeling well, and
mm,
that if we don't take the time off, if we take time off, we're going to be looked at as lazy. We're going to be looked at as all the different names in the book. But
mm-hmm.
I want to say it's so important. Our mental health is so important. Physical health
Yes.
is so important because that same job that we're working at every day, just like that, 50, 60, 70, 80 hours a week,
Yeah.
the moment that we pass away, within a week, they're posting that job.
Facts.
So,
Facts. Like they don't care.
yeah.
Oh my
So,
gosh, I'm so sorry, Johnny. Well, that's a wrap. Let's get someone else.
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
Right?
yeah.
It boggles my mind. I'm not saying that I do love to be on my computer per se, but
Yeah.
sometimes I'm listening to something and just enjoying, just doing something that's therapeutic, therapeutic
Yes.
for me, right? Some people can't understand it, but I also know like if I'm popped down, I'm not working.
Yeah.
Like I'm if I'm popped down, I'm not working, and I'm also doing that so I can put into different funnels so I don't have to work as much.
Hmm.
I'm getting back my time, right? So
Yep.
I think that's like the issue that the older generation didn't do. Like our community, older generation is that they thought work, 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 work out of the 2, 3 jobs. but not have that money making money for you.
Exactly.
And I was like,
Yeah.
and I mean, I'm still trying to make it make sense to some folks because it's like
Mhm.
you don't have to work every moment for those dollars. You can work, put those
Mhm.
dollars somewhere else so they can work. You want your money to have babies too. Right? And another trauma is financial avoidance. You see how people sometimes just do this? Like the reason why they're
Mhm.
embarrassed and they're like, I'm not even gonna look on it, y'all. Y'all, come here. They really don't know what's in my bank account. Don't avoid it. Like refusing to
No, no,
talk
no.
about
Yeah, you
finances.
know what? The credit card statement come in, you know? Mhm.
Yeah, look on it. You're like, oh.
Yes.
You get the phone calls. You're like, oh. Like avoiding it will bring
Tell them
more
I'm not here.
anxiety.
Tell them I'm not here.
Back in the day when we had the caller ID,
Yeah.
now you're just like, we don't recognize that number. If I don't leave a message, is it? Right? But that actually caused fear, overwhelming, and worrisome. I'll say worrisome because I feel like that's a better thing to say. We don't want to have, and it goes back to the mental health. Like these are the things that will cause stress, right?
Yes.
Ooh, here's one. Lack of financial boundaries.
Ooh, that's a
I think,
big one.
Mr. People, Mr. Yo, I'm not even gonna talk about you. You can talk about when people have been and I'm saying that as a joke because if I feel like that has happened to me, it's because I've been willing to do it, not just handcuffs. I'm like, you better do it, Cam. So
Hmm.
when people have been victims of financial trauma, such as financial abuse in a marriage or a relationship, they may have difficulty setting healthy financial limits and boundaries in the relationship at home and work.
Yes.
So that's one thing. Like some people just don't know how to say no, right?
Yeah.
So it happens. Sometimes you have to say no to people so they understand, right?
Absolutely. Saying no is not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Saying no. That's
Right?
that's one thing I had to learn too.
Hey, it happens to the best of us. And scarcity mindset. And I think that's one
Mhm.
thing we spoke about is the relationship you have with money really has to do with your mindset, right?
Absolutely.
If you have a love hate with money, we want to know, like we said before, review your financial situation so you can get a better understanding. And I've
Ex-
I've, I've asked this question before, and I'm like, how's your relationship with money? Does
mhm.
it love does it love to stay or does it love to go? Or does it love to build with you and grow to multiple types of money, right? Those are the things that
Yes.
we want to be able to have, right? And I think having someone on your side or team is able to help that as well, because
100%. That relationship with money is everything because if you think about it this way, if your family has been living in a state of destitute over a long period of time,
hmm
now you have one of two things, one of two ways. Either one, you're going to be really, really scared to spend, right? And
hmm
so you're going to be trying to hold on to everything that you have, everything that you've gotten, and you're going to, like that person who maybe, has the two houses, but they're still eating chicken back, right? They're in a much better situation, but they're just living. They've lived so long in a certain way, they
yeah.
just don't know anything else, right? And then the other side of it is that not having enough or not having it now can lead to overspending, because now you have it. It's like, I gotta enjoy it. I don't know when I'm not gonna have it anymore. So now you enjoy it. You're living life. You're, going all over the place, doing everything. And that, I think, is where my experience came in, because I didn't have it growing up. So when
Yeah.
I became 18, I was like, now I have it. Let's go.
Come on. Who wants to go on a trip with me? Come true, come
Exactly. And
true.
that's exactly what I did. And I took my girlfriend to a trip with me. I gave her money and spent all this money. And now that's why I was like, I didn't want to go there, because I'm just like, oh man,
But you had a good experience, right?
it was life and the experiences of life. And trust me.
Yes. But
Yeah.
I get that, because especially at that time, you want to, it's that that age group is always about YOLO, right?
Yes.
So for some, I'm not gonna say all,
Yeah.
is YOLO. Who knows when this, if I'm ever gonna get this situation. But then that's why I want to speak to the folks. Like, if you're in that situation, you're getting a lump sum of money and you're 18, please, please, a percentage to let it blow. Cool. We know you want to look nice and everything, but have a set aside for some of that money for your future. Because when you come our big age, you'll be like, huh. Like, I just want to tell people, anyone that's watching and is in their teens and 20s, and you see grown ass folks like us in our 30s, 40s, 50s, and you see sometimes that they're like, oh man, 20 years ago, if I did this, I could have been rich. I want you to actually take that in and just put some money aside for your future. You won't
Yes.
regret it. And look for financial professionals like ourselves to help you, because that mindset, it's going to be taught with money and time, right?
Yes.
And trust me, you don't want these lessons, that financial lessons. They hurt.
Big
They
time.
hurt.
Big time. But if you can learn from it, and you could truly, on the other side of it, you can learn from it, and you can be able to make better financial decisions, then
Yes.
you can say, okay, you know what, that experience was my experience. I've learned from
Mhm.
it. Now I'm going to
Mm.
be further on. Now I can teach somebody else. But if you can learn from my experience, that's even better, because now whoever's listening to this, if you're in that situation, and I
Yeah.
don't ever want anyone to experience that, where a family member or a mother or parent, anyone passes
Mhm.
away, because
Mhm.
that's not only you're dealing with the loss of not having that person around anymore. You're dealing with
Mhm.
the emotional trauma that's related to that.
True.
In some case, if you're an adult and you're responsible for that person, you're also dealing
Mm.
with the financial aspect of that as well. And so if that is someone that's listening to that and is learning from this, what I want you to take away from this is to get help.
Yes.
Don't try to figure things out on your own. There are people out there who care,
Mhm.
who are in this in order to help, and who really want to make a difference.
Exactly.
And you just got to find those people. Don't just take people forward for their word.
Mhm.
Listen to their heart, listen to your feelings, listen to your vibrations. If you feel good having a
Mhm.
conversation with that person, then you can move forward. If you don't, stay away, right? Because at the end of the day, you have to be comfortable with the conversation and with the person in order to get that trust, build
Mhm.
that respect,
Mhm.
in order to be able to do that. So I always believe, if someone can like me, trust me, and understand me,
Yes.
then they can do business with me, because then we can
Hold on,
help.
hold on. You have to say that one again. I like that one. If
if,
you
I, if they can like me, trust me, and understand me, then we can do business together. And it goes both ways, right? It goes both ways. It's very important, and that's why I think financial trauma happens, because a lot of times people get into things because other people were in it and they didn't really take the time to learn it, or to
Yes.
understand the individuals that are in it as well. And therefore now they just think, oh, fast money this, fast money that. And then
Mm-hmm.
you go into it and then boom, it blows up. And it's like, where did all of my money go?
Yep.
It
Yep.
just, you know what I mean? So now,
When you said that story, my heart, my heart hurts for real, because that's hard. That's hard. But I want the 18-year-olds to hear that and say like, yo, I know that would be me, but you know what? Let me just put some money aside. At least 30%.
yeah,
At least. Oh, we have a visitor. Hello, Dr. Vibe. Hello, hello, hello.
got their vibes. Oh man, I love this. This brother is such a powerful, powerful brother. He's amazing. He's been doing so much great work in the community. I've known him well over 10 years.
What?
Oh man, yeah, yeah. We were in
Watcha.
business together before in another business, and
Yeah.
just the heart
Okay.
that he has, such a powerful individual, this guy.
What? See, I know this man's powerful. I tell him every day, and then he's just like, but um, yeah, I really like this one. If you like me, trust me, and understand me, we can do business together. That is really ideal, because that is one way that especially the younger folks will get an understanding. And I feel like we have to speak different to different age groups, right?
Yes,
To be able to, like, I'm not that hood and stuff, but I want to talk to the hood ones and say like, I'm not gonna say Scarborough slang, but like, sir, me know you're young and you want to do this, that, and the fourth, but come, let's think about your future, just so when you come to my big age, you will be more secured and all that, right? Um,
absolutely.
and I want you to say you're good before I ask you my famous question. Oh, well, hold on. There's more. There's more. I'm not gonna explain this whole. Oh, he changed it a little bit. KSFEYLRWFQ. We won't talk about that. But he says, hello, hello, hello.
Yes, greetings, Dr. Vibe. Big up, big up. And
Um,
what you said is so true too. And sorry to cut you off. What you said is so
no,
true. You have to be able to speak to individuals from where they're at,
yeah.
and that's one of the things that I'm learning is how to communicate more effectively to
Hmm.
different generations of people. Because the baby boomers, their generation was they had to save, like they wanted to, for them it was go to school, get a good
Hmm.
job, you
Hmm.
know, you'll be okay. You just work hard and you'll be okay. Our generation is not the same, right? So for us, it's go to school, get what you need so you can have that basis,
Yes. Yes.
right? You can have that basis if in case anything, you can fall back on that. But
Plan B. Hmm.
develop your skills, develop your skills, and your skills will pay the bills.
Your skills will pay the bill. Bum, bum, bum. That's very true. Different generations come with different communication. I I don't know, man. The baby boomers, they're the difficult ones, sort of.
They had so much financial trauma. They went through so
Yes.
much, so we can understand. It's difficult because they're also stuck in their ways. They've also experienced it so many mistrust. They don't trust the financial industry. They may not have had positive experiences. So
Hmm.
really changing and shifting that paradigm of their mind and the way that they think is
Hmm.
is is important. And the way that we can do that is by example. Number
Yes.
one, by showing them examples.
Hmm.
And number two, getting down to their level, understanding where they're at. And number three, take them along the journey.
Mm.
Take them along the journey, right? One of the things I always tell people is if you have $100,000 and you want to invest, but you don't trust that, where I'm going to put that money, where we're going to put that money together is the best place. Let's take 10,000. Put 10,000, see what it works, see how it goes. If you're
Hmm.
happy with that, then then you can gradually increase and move the rest. You know what I mean?
Ooh.
Because you dip your toe in when you feel the water is not as cold, then you
Yeah,
put the rest of your body inside.
exactly. And I think with that, with the older generation that has 100K, I think showing them the history as well,
Yeah.
just and then just reminding them. Remember what we said before? Anything that has happened in the past, any tragedy, events, pandemic,
Depression,
hurricanes,
recession, all of that.
no, every time it goes back up. Dr. Vibe actually has a lovely question. I'm saying it's directed to you. So
Okay.
hold on. Let me play it. Let me put it over here. So here's this: listening and hearing is key heuristics. But the question is, what skills are key in 2024? Why, Johnny?
Ooh. Oh man. Number one, I always bring it back to the person's um, passions. Whatever they're passionate about doing or getting into, they should lead with that because
Okay.
out of the abundance of the heart, we act, not just speak, but we act. So if
Mm,
there's something in our heart that's something that's pulling on us, let's say for example, if someone is very interested in tech and they just love video gaming or technology, automation, they just love AI, all these different things, then if you're interested in that, learn the skills associated with that,
exactly.
right? If you're interested in finances,
Hmm.
learn the skills associated with finances, get the financial literacy, you
Hmm.
know get yourself around people who are in that environment and
Yeah.
learn from them. if
Hmm.
you're if you're if it's about writing, online, if you want to write different articles and publications and all those different things, learn those skills. If you want to host a podcast, or if you want to host, if any type of event or something like that, learn what you're interested in. If you are interested in it and you
Yes.
develop those skills, it's really important, and it will take you a lot further than if you're not interested in it, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's what I would say.
Yeah. Definitely do something you're passionate about. But I know it's like the one thing that happened with some of the baby boomers or Gen X is that they didn't um go with the trend, right?
Yeah.
So we know like when the internet came in, they're like, yo, what's this internet thing there? It's soon gonna be gone. And look how Google has Google, Apple, and stuff. Or think about um the first phone, cell phone that is.
Hmm.
So they're like, we don't want this. All of a sudden they have I'm gonna say Android first because I'm team
Yes.
Android, or Apple, or even Netflix. When
Oh
Netflix was
yeah.
there, like, oh, yeah, streaming? Who's gonna stream?
It's on
But
the
they
stream.
forgot about LimeWire because we love
Mm.
LimeWire. But now Spotify, what? Oh, why are you asking us these questions, sir? I'm joking. He has another question. I'm joking, Dr. Vibe. What's the question? I have to read it here. This is for both of you. What business decisions did you make in 20, 2023 that you wish you could have? Back when? Wish you could have back.
Which you could have taken back.
Take him back, you mean?
I
Sir.
think
See now,
so. Yeah.
see, no, no, no. See, I'm gonna hail him up because he's always at me when I'm typing fast. So I expect you to do better. Okay? Okay.
Uh, leave the man alone. Oh, you'll make my
You go first.
Jamaican side come out now. What business decision did I make this year that I wish I could take back? Oh man. For me,
Mhm.
uh, I made a lot of decisions that um, hmm, I made a decision to not attend certain seminars and events
Mm.
that could have helped. right? And namely, like real estate, for example. I'm very interested in real estate and
Yeah.
learning about how to get into that industry. But I want to master this first before I get into that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, I looked at different events that I wanted to go to
Mm-hmm.
that I wish, if I had gone to, maybe I would have understood things a little bit more on the real estate side,
Yes.
to bring
Yep.
me further and closer into, being able to make decisions
Mm-hmm.
that can lead me towards taking the necessary actions to get into that industry.
Yeah.
Uh,
I agree.
that's what I would say. Yeah,
I
man.
agree because the real estate world is a different breed or beast. I have a little understanding of it, but I'm still like I still make sure folks that are more like that's their speed to like them to talk about it because I stay in my lane, right?
Mhm.
For me, once in a while I ask the good questions. That's what he said.
What did he say? Sorry, what did he say?
He's like
Okay.
once in a while I ask a good question. But what business decision did you make that you wish to take it back? um I wish I had known the value of my pricing a little bit better because not even 2023 but like from 2020 I feel like that battle that I've had from 2020 has lit me hard in
Mm,
2023, and I'm trying to finally like put my foot down and say like no, I'm valuable, like this is my price, like
mhm.
I go to Centennial do to do workshops and webinars, like yo, put some respect on my name.
Yeah, man.
Right.
Yeah.
um so pricing, and you know what, it's something that I forever struggle with because I'm like, remember how you said like you want to give access to everyone, but
Yes.
then I also have to realize like the the folks that I really want to help, you have this to be able to find out that information. But the
Hmm.
ones that are ready to um respect my value and push forward, you gotta pay me what I'm worth.
Yes.
You have to pay me what I'm worth. Like
Absolutely.
that's that, right?
Yeah.
Pricing. Pricing.
Nice.
Oh
Dr.
my.
Frank.
Right? And I also want to
Absolutely.
ask you a question since he's asking great questions. Me, I have to ask the great questions as well. I always ask this to everyone. And even though you've mentioned it before, but I think if I ask it again, I will
Mhm.
hear the same answer. Is what are three things you wish you knew about money in your younger years, especially with financial trauma? Rah.
Especially with financial trauma.
Yes. Or it could be everything, but like, if we want to resurface to that, because it goes back in hand, really.
Yeah, absolutely. So it does circle back.
Hmm.
It goes back to after my mom passed away. Definitely, I wish that I had known how to set up my finances at that point in time
Hmm.
to be able to help me to springboard from there where I needed to be.
Hmm.
Um, I said, the thing is, back then I've always had big dreams.
Hmm.
I want to have a house in the islands. I want to be, having property all across the world. I want to be able to travel the world. I want to
Yes.
be able to have, property developments and things like that through real estate. And that's where that real estate side comes in. So
Yes.
now I'm surrounding myself with certain organizations that have access to people who are venture capitalists, who are out there to invest, who are looking at, who are doing these things. And I'm just like,
Yes.
okay, people are there. Now
Yes.
I have that mentorship. If I want to, I can tap into that, right?
Nice.
So
Yes, yes,
having, yeah, so having that access, I wish I had access to someone who can say, this is what you needed to do. I wish I knew where to go to put my money at that point in time. And I honestly, I just wish that, um,
I like that one. Having access. I really
yeah,
like
yeah,
that one.
exactly. I wish I had bought more assets
Mhm.
earlier on, because then now it would have appreciated.
Yes.
Yeah. It's
Yes.
like the cars. The car's a depreciating asset. You might enjoy it now, but trust me, in the future, it's like it's depreciating in value. But property definitely,
Hmm.
property and investments.
I think the one thing we don't realize when we're younger, um, is having an asset. And I know, and don't worry, you're not alone, because I remember when I was at King and I seen people with souped up cars and things, and I'm like, and then I realized like how much it costs for like one of those mufflers and just to soup up your car, or like people would use their OSAP money once they got into university or college
Mhm.
and soup up their car. I'm like, huh? Wait, you spent how much? So like I get that excitement when it comes to, I'll say, some men and even some ladies as well,
Yeah,
that they're having that car is their pride and joy. And you'll even see it when people retire. What's the one thing men get when
yeah.
they retire? They want
Get
their
a
own
fast
car.
car, something that makes them, or a Harley, bike. So yeah, they want to get something that makes them feel young again. You know.
Yes, yes. And I'm just like, and you can tell. You can tell when it's like, and no diss to the older folks. When they have that fast car, but they're falling asleep while they're at the red light. That was a joke, guys. I don't see that. I don't see that. But you know that they're trying to relive
Mhm.
the young life
The glory
that they
days.
wish they had, or the glory days, right? No, I'm not dogging them. I'm not dogging you. And
That's
then
me
there's some
neither.
ladies, like what? There's ladies that Botox, I guess, to feel young, or BBLs. Yo, and this is me looking at people. None of my friends can. Um, let me rephrase that. Let me do nice. Let me be nice. Ladies, your natural beauty is exquisite. Please embrace that. You do not have to get BBLs to look beautiful. You're beautiful the way you are. Oh.
Oh.
Wait, was that three? You said having access, having assets, and mentor,
Yeah,
I guess.
so mentorship, having the mentorship. Yeah.
Yes, yes, yes. Okay. And I love how you're really wanting to get into the real estate world, because that's one thing that we acknowledge, that's one of the three ways of building wealth, is investing, real estate, and business, right? So and remember, there's nothing wrong with wanting to have all three, but I think it's also ideal to understand all three before getting into all three, or at least getting your feet wet safely. So like one thing I say is, um if you want to get into investing and real estate, REITs.
Hmm.
That is a safe, that, like, if you don't have enough capital, REITs
Yeah,
is your best bet. And then you're able to get the knowledge about real estate, and just, talk to people that are in the real estate world. That you
absolutely.
remember, that you, oh shucks, that you like, trust, and understand. Oh,
Understand.
I love that one. Like, I really like that one, because I think that's that's the key. That's the key of like building a wonderful relationship and having and flourishing it in the world and years to come, right? And
Yes.
what other projects or avenues are you currently doing right now? If you can
So
say, because we know sometimes things are on the hush hush.
I know, right? Just, honestly, I've contemplated disappearing for 6 months or a year and just like
Ah,
be a miracle. Like
I wonder where you got that from, sir.
we get it from you, you know. Oh man,
Oh
we're having
shit,
so
is
much
that
fun. This is
yeah,
amazing.
right?
Uh,
Holy shit, that I might have to honestly, I might do that too.
yeah,
Especially
but you know what?
you know. 'Cause I'm thinking of tax season. I'm like the only time you'll get me is like during tax season, but like disappearing and just grinding, yeah,
hmm Yeah, yeah.
sounds about right.
I've thought about that.
Safely, because remember the trauma, the workaholics,
Yeah, and
right?
one of those skills that Dr. Vibe asked a question earlier about
Mhm.
skills that I think would be useful in 2024.
Yeah.
Um, Learning technology. Technology is here to stay, and it's here to evolve.
Mhm.
And for me, I love embracing technology, learning how things work.
Mhm.
When it comes to online digital marketing and that kind of things, those things, I think those are great skills that people can develop as well. Learning how
Yes.
to market themselves, digital marketing, looking at different businesses, analyzing businesses, and being able to develop the skills that is going to pay the bills,
Mhm.
but also skills that is near and dear to your heart. Because if you love what you do, you never work a day in your life,
That's very much true. Yep. Yep. Yep.
right? So
Yep.
that's definitely. But for me, things that I want to get into, avenues I want to get into, definitely, I want to eventually get into property developments.
Nice.
Definitely want to get more into technology aspect of things, and really just finding things that I'm interested in, and I'm always open to hearing what other people have going,
Mm.
so that way I can learn from them, because each one teach one, and iron sharpens iron, so we can be a sword to cut through all the mess of life and achieve our goals.
Oh, I'm adding that one to the tags. Oh man. And also, how can the folks find you, sir?
Yes, I'm mainly on LinkedIn,
Okay.
Morlan Allen on LinkedIn. You can also find me at Instagram, Allen's and Associates there. I'm also
Uh,
on Facebook, Morlan Allen as well on Facebook. Uh,
okay. So hold on. Then now I have to add that one because I
that's okay.
I had most of it. I was like, okay, yes, my of it. But let's see. I'm going to show that to the folks. And you said Facebook, right? Oh well, that's the same as LinkedIn. So boom.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. The only real difference is the Instagram, really. Um, and I've started to look at TikTok as well. And
Have you same name? So for which one?
I would have to double check that one because I haven't used it very often.
Okay.
I kind of signed up, but most likely it's the same. Moreland Allen, FA or SFA, something like that. Would be there, but
I'm just laughing
yeah,
because I just got on it too, and I'm like, oh my gosh, why did I do this?
TikTok is something else.
Boom, there you go. And this is how
Yeah,
folks can find you. And it's also in the show notes. Is that the right email? Or should I erase that email?
that email works. That's fine. That works. That works.
I was like, should I put the email? So-
That
oh,
one works.
ooh, and Dr. Vibe also said, trauma leads to drama. Well, look at the bars.
Trauma leads to drama. So yes.
Indeed.
And I think there was someone that said save the drama for your mama. So like that, but We don't want no drama.
Me don't want no drama. Me done with drama. It's my birthday month, darn it.
Yes, and happy belated birthday, by the way. You're
Thank
celebrating the whole
you.
month, so happy
Celebrate the whole
birthday
month.
to
You
you.
said happy birthday to me, so it's all good.
Yeah, I get it, right? Yeah, happy birthday
Don't
to
worry,
you.
you didn't miss it.
Um,
You know, no, I was going to just say like, I don't think Dr. Vi remembered, but he did. So I ain't gonna go for him because you'd be like, But honestly, our conversation has been amazing, and I think letting the folks know, like, what is one thing you want them to remember about this conversation, if anything, other than the like. He said, "Behave, please." Other than the like, trust, and understand me, because that one was amazing. What's one thing you want folks to um take from when it comes to financial trauma?
Understand that you don't have to stay there.
Mm,
You don't have to stay there. Yeah.
Jesus.
Yeah. Yeah. You don't have to stay there, honestly. Where you are, be grateful for where you are, what you have gone through, because it shaped you to become who you are today.
Mhm.
But don't let it stop there.
Mm,
Continue to seek the knowledge. The word the Bible says, um, ask and it shall be given to you.
mm,
Seek and you will find.
mm,
Knock and it shall be opened unto you.
mm.
Right? So if you ask, you will get the answers. If
Yes.
you seek, you will find what you're looking for. If you knock, the door will be open. It may not be the exact same door you're knocking on right now, but it will be opened. So it's so important for us to not stay where we are, look
Mhm,
for help,
mhm,
reach out to, there's so many of us out there that are looking for people to serve and are looking for people who truly want the help. So
mm,
if you're interested and you want to connect with me
mhm,
and let's have a conversation. I put out a video yesterday on my Facebook, and
yeah,
I was explaining to people that reasons why you should choose to work with me. Number one,
mhm,
you're going to get someone who's going to be in your corner, someone who is going to be there for you, someone who cares about you, someone who's going to be looking at your best interest. Number
mhm,
two, I'm very accessible. You can reach out to me, text me, once you've got my number, text me, connect with me. I add my clients in a group on
yeah,
WhatsApp so
nice.
that way I can message both husband and wife or
They,
spouses together and
yeah,
stay in communication.
very important. Very, I love how you said that because it's extremely important for both parties to understand what's going on than
Yes,
someone like
absolutely.
left under the rock, right? That's one thing
100%.
I believe. So I'm glad you said that. Oof, oof, jeez,
Yeah,
Marlon, jeez.
absolutely.
So make sure
It's
you follow him
yeah,
and watch the Facebook video and make sure you like. Oh, I did it right. Yes, like, comment, subscribe, tell a friend, share, and all these good stuff. Sir, what do you want to say to the folks before we dip? Because I know it's a
uh,
long day.
you know what? Honestly, I want to say something to you.
Mm,
I have seen your growth over the last, I would say I've known you for about what, 15 years almost?
since high school.
Yeah, since high school, exactly. And we went to different high schools. So, like, yeah. So, I want to say to you, I'm so proud of the work that you're doing and the information that you're sharing, and just your passion for giving and your passion for serving our community and helping to uplift the culture. It's so important, and it's really needed and it's necessary. And I just want you to know that we appreciate you. The world appreciates you. Your light is inspiring other people that you are not yet aware of, and therefore you are adding value. So, I want to give you your flowers now because it's so important for
Mm,
you to get it so you can hear it yourself. It's
yes.
so important, right?
So I'm not
You
gonna
are,
get emotional. I was emotional the other day, but y'all don't get. I'm joking, but no, Marlon, I am hearing you. I receive it, And I appreciate that message to the bottom of my heart. Because sometimes you need to hear it, even though, people think you're strong at things, but to hear that and to acknowledge it means a lot to me. Thank you, sir.
Salute.
On that, folks, on that note, folks, because you're not gonna see me cry. Blessings, and for everyone that is having trauma during this Christmas, you don't have to stay there. You don't have to stay there. All right, folks. On that note, peace.
Peace.
I just wanna be free with my people to prosper and hold it down. Don't you sit and wait, contemplating on a revolution.